Francisco, my name is Hart, and this is the beautiful Tyler Oakley.
Hi.
And what up? And as former San Francisco residents ourselves, we are absolutely psyched to be here in San Francisco to present the first ever Rick Weiland Award on behalf of GLAAD. Rick was a computer software pioneer and philanthropist. Along with his surviving partner, Mike Schaefer, he was known and admired in the community for his dedication to LGBT and HIV/AIDS organizations.
Rick's spirit of innovation and inclusion matches perfectly with this inaugural award recipient, Google and YouTube. Where would we be without Google and YouTube?
I mean, literally, I have no idea. I would be drunk in my kitchen, muttering to myself.
I would be alone on my couch on Grindr.
Wait a minute, we totally do that anyway.
That's our reality.
Lives. That is
Great.
our lives. But this is the platform. The platforms that Google and YouTube provide have given us the opportunity to express ourselves and connect with people, especially young people who might not know anyone else who is LGBT. And those young people, they get us.
They do.
Yeah. But it's not only the young people. Actually, one of the most heartfelt messages I've ever received came from a father in the Midwest, I think it was Nebraska, in his 40s, who was strictly anti-gay. But he and his household loved watching my show, so now they, quote unquote, had something to think about.
And the messages that we get from young people are inspiring within themselves. I remember early on I would receive messages saying, I come from a small town and I know nobody who's openly gay, and you were one of the first people that I ever met that was somebody that I saw myself in.
Aww.
And with public statements just like these in support of LGBT rights, it is our pleasure to honor both Google and YouTube with the Rick Weiland Award. They have innovative campaigns that engage and inspire, a proud commitment to LGBT employees, and they are pioneers and true corporate role models for other companies to follow.
We are so grateful to Google and YouTube for allowing us to be exactly who we are, and for supporting LGBT equality so creatively and so boldly online and in the workplace.
On behalf of GLAAD, we are proud to present the first ever Rick Weiland Award to Google and YouTube. Here to accept on behalf of Google is the company's Vice President of Marketing, Aryan Dyke.
Thank you very much, Tyler and Hannah, for presenting this award to Google. I'm proud to present both YouTube and Google tonight, and particularly to be joined by two amazing YouTube creators, Tyler Oakley and Hannah Hart, two people who know the power that a platform can have in helping to share who you really are. And of course, on behalf of Google and all of our employees, I want to thank GLAAD for this honor. Google is proud to be considered a game changer, especially in the memory of Rick Weiland and what his work represents. Google has a long-standing history of standing up for the LGBT community, and we work hard to make sure that Google and YouTube are platforms that make information accessible to everyone. I'm so proud and happy that YouTube and Google are global platforms that can help people find their way in life. You might remember our YouTube Proud to Love campaign, or a more recent Proud to Play campaign that honors LGBT athletes, their supporters, as well as the YouTube creators who stand for diversity in sports and elsewhere. Together, those campaigns reach people in over 24 countries with over 8 million views on YouTube. And it is very easy to forget how difficult it was not that long ago to get to the right information. I remember very vividly my own journey of self-acceptance and coming out. And for me, the year was 1997, and it was a very different time for LGBT folks. And I'm sure many of you in the room can relate. You might remember that year, Celine Dion screeching, near, far, wherever you are, from every radio speaker in the world. And the sound of that irritating flute has conditioned me completely to my coming out emotions, and I can tell you that I just want to hit the speaker when I hear it. But all fun aside, it's easy to forget how difficult it was then to get to the right information. For me, and I suspect for most people at that time, coming out was a very scary moment. Support networks were few and far between, and access to information was very limited. And even if you could find someone to talk to, or a book that could be helpful, you would be afraid to get caught. In my experience, when I was coming out, I remember one dark and rainy winter evening when I was hiding in a corner of a public library, trying to go unnoticed as I browsed the bookshelves. For me that day, I flossed my teeth, had some bleeding gums, and put myself in what I was sure seconds afterwards, a very risky sexual situation. So in that library, I was trying to find all the information possible about HIV and AIDS, and specifically the risks involved with bleeding gums and sex. And it sounds a bit silly now in 2014, but some of you who are as ancient as myself might remember that in 1997, this kind of information was difficult to come by. I spent hours in that library as I did not dare take any books or articles home with me because I was worried somebody might see them and think that I would be gay. Anyway, I will end my story here. I think many of you will have similar stories, and we are very fortunate that 2 decades later, things have improved for many LGBT folks around the world. People can have access to so much more information, and I'm very grateful to be part of that through Google and YouTube, and that I can help make a difference in big ways and in small ways. In a big way, by Google supporting very publicly the LGBT community, and in a more small way, showing Googlers in my workplace every day that it's fine to be different. For example, I came back from my summer vacation last week and had my first day back at the office. My dear colleague and best friend, Cliff, who was at the table here, bumped into me in front of my office, and we performed a very campy gay reunion ceremony, very visible to probably 100 team members. You know how it is, with loud kisses, hugging, silly giggling, and lots of cackling. It probably looked that we had been separated for a decade. And guess what? No Googler blinks an eye, and I love that. So my point is, being here tonight is of course hugely important, but also being a senior executive on a Monday morning 9 o'clock shows that it's fine to be different matters. And talking about role models, this is not to say that we're all done now, even here in the Bay Area. I coach some of our young grads at Google, and one person told me a story that his father warned him not to come out at work as it would put his career in danger. So a 22-year-old still gets a message from his father, who's probably around the same age as me, that he should hide and not be himself at work. And to me, this story was an important wake-up call for how much more there is to be done in the Bay Area, and of course, every other place in the world. We've come a long way since 1997, and I hope that we're able to say that in 20 years, we've come a long way since 2014. Thank you again for this great honor, and good night.